Hello, Taurus. This is Selena Hart. And today I want to speak to something that's been quietly unfolding around you, something you may have sensed but haven't yet had the full clarity to name. There is someone close to you, someone you have trusted deeply, someone whose presence in your life felt solid, familiar, and dependable. This is a person you've defended when others raised doubts. A person you've allowed into your emotional core, believing they earned their place there. But beneath the surface of that connection, something has not been honest. And the time has come for that truth to surface gradually. Not in a way you can manage or delay, but in a way that will change the way you see everything. Taurus, I know how much value you place on loyalty, how naturally you give your steady heart to those you love, and how long you're willing to hold space for someone you believe in. But I also know that once your trust is broken, there is no going back. What's coming now is not meant to punish you, it's meant to wake you up. The universe is stepping in because it's seen how long you've stayed in something that has been eroding you quietly. The truth about this person, about their intentions, their actions, and their emotional integrity is about to be revealed. And when it comes, it may shake the stability you've worked so hard to maintain. It will challenge your understanding of who they are. But more than that, it will challenge the narrative you've built around why you kept holding on. This person is not a distant figure. They're not someone on the sidelines. They are part of your emotional structure, someone you've invited into your private world. And that's what will make the revelation so jarring, because the betrayal won't just be about what they did, will be about how deeply they knew you and still chose to keep you in the dark. That kind of exposure stings, especially for someone like you who doesn't let just anyone in. But it's necessary, because once the truth is out, in the quiet tension you've been living with, the moments of confusion, the subtle inconsistencies, and the gut feelings you've ignored will all begin to make sense. You've likely already felt it, the discomfort around them that you couldn't explain, the way your energy seemed to shift in their presence. Even when you tried to dismiss it, maybe it showed up as tiredness, irritability, or a sense that something just wasn't adding up. Taurus, that wasn't paranoia. That was your body trying to speak where your mind had gone quiet. And now, the universe is confirming what your instincts already knew. Someone you love has not been fully honest with you. And while that truth may bring pain, it also brings clarity. It brings choice. It brings you back to your own power. This is the beginning of a turning point, not just in your relationship with them, but in your relationship with yourself. Because after this, you'll stop overriding your intuition for the sake of harmony. You'll stop holding on out of obligation or fear. And you'll begin building connections that don't require you to doubt yourself just to keep the peace. This revelation will not only free you from what has been false sight, will remind you of what's real, your strength, your wisdom, and your right to relationships that feel safe, true, and reciprocal. More than anything, Taurus, I want you to understand that what's coming is not an ending, it's an unveiling. You're not losing someone. You're losing the illusion of who they were. And in that space, you get to decide what comes next, not based on what you hoped for, but based on what's true. Stay grounded, stay present, and know that while this truth may shake your foundation, it will also give you back the clarity you've been missing. You deserve nothing less. And Taurus, if you're being honest with yourself, you've felt this coming. Maybe not in words, maybe not in a clear storyline, but in sensation and that subtle discomfort that settles in your body when you're around them. You've noticed the small shifts, the moments when something they said didn't sit right, the pauses in conversation that felt too calculated, The stories that slightly changed the second time they were told. And though you felt the tension rise inside you, you chose to quiet it, not because you were blind, but because you wanted to believe in the connection. You wanted to give them the benefit of the doubt. You wanted things to stay steady, peaceful, intact. But the truth is, your intuition was never confused. Your body was reading something your mind wasn't ready to face. And that's not a weakness, that's part of your strength. You give people time, you let them show you who they are. But now, you have to admit that they've shown you enough. This unease you've been carrying, that persistent emotional static, wasn't yours to carry. It was your system alerting you that something was out of alignment. And the longer you tried to suppress it, the more exhausted you become, just emotionally, but energetically. That heaviness you felt, that resistance to being around them, that's what happens when your nervous system is trying to hold two conflicting truths. What you hoped for and what you know. You didn't misread the signs. Taurus, you postponed acknowledging them because your heart wanted a different story. But now, you can't keep ignoring the signal. The dissonance has grown too loud. And once the truth is revealed and it will be, you will realize your instincts had been guiding you the entire time. The doubt wasn't paranoia. It was perception. You were sensing the split between their words and their intentions. And even if you couldn't name it then, your body remembered. Going forward, this experience will teach you to trust yourself more quickly, to honor your unease as sacred data, and to never again silence your inner knowing, just to keep someone close. Because your peace is not worth the price of someone else's deception. Not now. Not ever again. And Taurus, when the truth finally rises to the surface, it won't come as a soft realization you can process over time. It will hit all at once, like a cold gust of wind through a door you didn't even realize was open. The revelation will stop you in your tracks. It won't be a misunderstanding or a minor misstep. It will be a rupture, clear, undeniable moment that shows you just how far someone you trusted was willing to go to protect their own image at the expense of your trust. And because you are someone who builds slowly, who gives deliberately, who doesn't let, just anyone in that impact will be sharp, not only because of what they did, but because of how deeply they knew you and still made the choice to betray your faith in them. This isn't about a single event. It's about the weight of accumulated truth finally pressing against the illusion. It's about the realization that while you were trying to build something real, and they were rehearsing a version of themselves designed to keep you close, but not honestly, the shock won't just be about the liet, will be about the intimacy you thought was mutual, the loyalty you gave without hesitation, the moments you stood by them without knowing the full story. And as that story comes into full view, you will begin to see the threads that never made sense now weaving into a pattern you can't unsee. This will be one of those moments that changes something inside you, not just your perception of this person, but your understanding of what trust really means. You may feel anger, grief, disillusionment, even embarrassment, but none of that belongs to you. You didn't make a mistake by trusting. You showed up in good faith. And if someone used that as an opportunity to deceive you, that speaks to their character, not yours. The shock may shake your foundation, but it will also clear away every excuse you've ever made for their behavior. And from that clearing, Taurus, you will begin again with your eyes open, your heart protected, and your truth no longer denied. And Taurus, the way this truth reveals itself to you will depend on the rhythm of your birth, because the universe has a way of tailoring revelation to your timing, your nature, and your capacity to receive it. If you were born between the 20th of April and the 30th of April, and the exposure is likely to come through something you stumble upon accidentally. Maybe it's a message they forgot to delete, a conversation you overhear by chance, or a piece of information left out in the open that wasn't meant for your eyes. You won't be searching for proof. But the moment it lands in your awareness, everything that didn't make sense before will suddenly line up. It won't feel like discovery, it will feel like confirmation. And the weight of what you uncover will be enough to shift the ground beneath you. Because once you see it, there's no going back to the version of reality you held onto so tightly. If your birthday falls between May 1st and May 10th, the truth will likely arrive through someone else, a third party who has either witnessed the deception or has been holding on to knowledge they didn't know how to give you. It might come from a friend who finally finds the courage to tell you what they've observed, or from a stranger who unintentionally reveals more than they realize. This kind of revelation may feel even more destabilizing because it will bring with it the awareness that others may have seen what you couldn't or wouldn't see. But don't let that turn into shame. The truth has a way of finding its way to you through the voices of others when your own voice has been silenced by hope, fear, or love. And though the source may surprise you, the clarity it brings will be undeniable. And for those of you born between May 11th and May 20th, the person hiding the truth will begin to unravel in front of you, whether out of guilt, pressure, or the sheer exhaustion of pretending. They will give themselves away. It might not be a dramatic confession. It could be a contradiction, an emotional slip, a moment of silence where there should have been an explanation, but you'll catch it because by now, your body is listening. And in that moment, when their story finally collapses under the weight of its own falsehood, you will feel something inside you go, still not in panic, but in recognition. You'll realize that you've been standing in the presence of a performance for far longer than you admitted. And while that may sting, it will also free you from having to keep pretending alongside them. Regardless of how it happens, Taurus, the truth is coming not to destroy you, but to return you to yourself. The details may differ, but the result will be the same, a fracture that demands your attention and an opportunity to step into a new way of relating, one where you no longer ignore the signs, silence your voice, or carry the emotional labor of holding up something that wasn't real. This truth will hurt, but it will also be precise, and in its precision, it will slice through the illusion with a kind of mercy only the universe knows how to deliver. What you choose to do with that clarity will be yours. But one thing is certain, you will never again settle for anything less than real. And Taurus, once the truth settles after the shock, after the silence, after the 1,000 mental replays of everything you missed or explained away, you will feel something shift inside you. At first, it might feel like loss, the ending of a connection, the collapse of a story you believed in, the withdrawal of someone you thought was part of your long-term life. It may ache in ways that words can't reach. You may grieve not just the person, but the version of you who trusted them, who showed up fully, who didn't yet know what was hiding beneath the surface. But slowly, quietly, something else will begin to emerge in that space. Clarity, a calm, or grounded knowing that you've just crossed a threshold zone that was long overdue. This experience will change you, Taurus, but not in the way you fear. It won't make you cold or cynical. It won't take away your capacity to love. What it will do is refine your ability to recognize what real love looks and feels like and what it doesn't leak on. You will start to see the difference between genuine care and emotional manipulation, between connection and control, between words spoken out of truth and words designed to buy time or secure your loyalty. And once you see that difference, you won't be able to unsee it. The kind of love you once tolerated will no longer feel like love at all. It will feel like compromise. It will feel like something that drains you rather than nourishes you. And you will stop making excuses for it. This is where the freedom begins. Not in forgetting, not in pretending you were never hurt, but in reclaiming your emotional standards. You will begin choosing people who don't make you question your worth, your instincts, or your memories. You'll notice how peaceful it feels when someone is simply honest, consistent, and safe. And that peace will become your new baseline. No more managing someone's moods, explaining your boundaries over and over, or carrying the emotional weight of a relationship on your own. You will stop fighting to be understood by people who never had the intention of understanding you to begin with. This new chapter may start with pain, Taurus, but it won't end there. Because you are now building from truth, not illusion. And truth, even when it hurts, always clears the way for something better. You will walk forward not bitter, but wiser, not guarded, but discerning. You will still offer your loyalty, your presence, and your love, but only to those who have shown they know how to hold it. This isn't about hardening, it's about refining. It's about no longer offering your steady, rooted energy to people who treat stability like a convenience instead of a gift. And most of all, it's about coming home to yourself, your rhythm, your worth, or your truth, and never again abandoning that center just to keep someone else from leaving. Taurus, if there's one truth, this experience will etch deeply into your being. It's this: your intuition is not something to question, it's something to honor. You've always been someone who trusts what's solid, what can be seen and proven. But now you're learning that the quiet signals inside you, the tension in your body, the subtle shifts in energy, the inner pause when something doesn't feel quite right, are not to be brushed aside. They are your guidance system. They speak in instinct, in stillness, in knowing, and from now on, you will no longer wait for tangible proof to validate what your spirit already senses. You will listen the first time. You will trust yourself before you seek reassurance outside of you. That is a strength no one can take from you again. You'll also learn to protect your generosity, not by closing your heart, but by becoming more discerning about where it flows. You have a natural instinct to stabilize, to hold steady for those you care about. But not everyone is drawn to that because they value it. Some are drawn to it because they believe they can lean on it endlessly without offering anything in return. And this experience will teach you how to spot the difference. It will help you recognize the patterns of those who take more than they give, who smile with one intention and act with another. And once you see it, you won't keep explaining it away. You'll simply step back, quietly, clearly, without guilt. This season of your life will also redefine your understanding of boundaries. You may have believed that drawing a line meant distancing yourself from love, that saying no meant disappointing people, or that protecting your peace meant losing connection. But now, you'll see boundaries for what they truly are: a form of clarity, a way to honor your energy without apology, a way to show others not just what you expect from them, but what you expect from yourself. The right people will respect those boundaries, not test them, and the wrong ones will reveal themselves the moment you stop bending. Most importantly, Taurus, you will begin rebuilding your life on a foundation that is no longer built on assumptions, on hope, or on your willingness to overlook discomfort. You will build with truth, with consistency, with love that doesn't need to be proven through sacrifice. You will no longer accept peace that comes at the cost of your voice. And you will no longer stay in places where you are emotionally responsible for both people. This is where you become more grounded in your worth, not because of what you've lost, but because of what you're no longer willing to carry. And from here forward, Every connection that enters your life will meet a new version of you, clearer, steadier, and deeply loyal to the truth within.